The Millionaire Fastlane. Crack the code to wealth and live rich for a lifetime. Introduction. The road to wealth has a shortcut. There is a hidden road to wealth and financial freedom, a shortcut of blinding speed where you can achieve wealth in youthful exuberance over elder entropy. Yes, you do not have to settle for mediocrity. You can live rich, retire for your decades early, and live a life that most can't. Sadly, the shortcut is cleverly camouflaged from your view. Instead of the shortcut, you are led down paralyzing road. You are led down a paralyzing road to mediocrity, a dull cornucopia of financial stratagem tailored to the slumbering masses, a legion of mandates and that sacrifices your wildest dreams in favor of numbed expectations. That Lord? It's financial mediocrity. It's known as get rich slow, the slow lane, or wealth in a wheelchair. That tedium sounds like go to school, get good grades, graduate, get a good job, save 10% of your paycheck, invest in the stock market, market your 401k, slash your credit cards and clip coupons. Then someday, when you are 65 years old, you will be rich. This dictation is a decree of trade drive for life. It's the long way. And no, it isn't scenic. If wealth were an ocean voyage, get rich slow would be a sailing round the Horn of South America, while the fast laner uses the shortcut, the Panama Canal. The Millionaire Fast Lane isn't a static strategy that preaches, go buy real estate, think positively, or start a business, but a complete psychological and mathematical formula that cracks the code to wealth and unlocks the gateway to the shortcut. Fastlane is a progression of distinctions that gives probability to the unspeakable. Live richly today while young, and decades before standard norms of retirement. Yes, you can win a lifetime of freedom and prosperity, and it doesn't matter if you are 18 or 40. What get rich slow does in 50 years, what get rich in slow does in 50 years, the Fastlane shortcut does in 5. Why can't you drive the shortcut? If you are a typical wealth seeker, your approach to wealth can be predictably foretold by a timeless question. What do I have to do to get rich? The quest for an answer wealth holy grail throws you into a mode of pursuit where you chase a variety of strategies, theories, careers, and schemes for that supposedly will bring great wealth into your lap. Invest in real estate, trade currencies, play pro ball. What do I have to do? Screams the wealth seeker. No, please stop. The answer is more about what you've been doing than what you haven't. There is an old proverb that has mutated a few times, but the gist is this. If you want to keep getting what you are getting, keep doing what you are doing. The translation? Stop. If you aren't wealthy, stop doing what you are doing. Stop following the conventional wisdom. Stop following the crowd and using the wrong formula. Stop following the roadmap that forsakes dreams and leads to mediocrity. Stop traveling roads with punitive speeds, limits, and endless detours. I call it anti-advice, and much of this book follows this prescription. This book lists nearly 300 wealth distinctions designed to crack the code to wealth and get you off your current road onto a new road where you can expose wealth's shortcut. The distinctions are directional markers to stop your old ways of action. The distinctions are directional markers to stop your old ways of action, thinking, and believing, and reorient you into a new direction. In essence, you have to unlearn what you have learned. Your reality doesn't change mine. This section is for the haters. I present the fast lane with brash cynicism. This book contains a lot of tough love, and while it is opinionated, you ultimately have to seek your own truth. The fast lane might insult, offend, or change you because it will violate everything you've been taught. It will contradict the teachings of your parents, your teachers, and your financial planners. And since I violate all that society represents, you can bet mediocre minds will take issue. Thankfully, your belief or disbelief of fastlane strategy doesn't change my reality. It only changes yours. Let me repeat. What you think of the fastlane doesn't change my reality. Its purpose is to change yours. So let me tell you about my reality. I live happily in a big house overlooking the mountains in the beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. There are rooms in my house that I don't visit for weeks. Yes, the home is too large, and that story is a horrifying, epic, best forgotten. I can't remember the last time I awakened to an alarm clock every day in a Saturday. Is a Saturday. Let me repeat that. I can't remember the last time I awakened to an alarm clock every day is a Saturday. I have no job and no boots. I don't own a suit or a tie. My cholesterol level confirms that I dine at Italian restaurants far too often. I smoke cheap cigars, as of this edition, I drive a Toyota Tacoma for work. Work means going to the gym and grocery shopping, and a Lamborghini roadster for play. I almost lost my life street racing 750 horsepower Viper laced with nitrous oxide. I shop at Costco, Halls, and Walmart if I'm in the neighborhood and it's past 12 a.m. No, I don't drive the Lamborghini to Walmart. That might cause a disruption in the space-time continuum. Trekkies know better. I don't own a watch more expensive than $149. I enjoy tennis, golf, biking, swimming, hiking, softball, poker, pool, art, travel, and writing. I'll travel whenever I and wherever I want. Other than my mortgage, I have no debt. You can't buy me gifts because I have everything I want. Prices for most things are inconsequential because if I want it, I buy it. I made my first million when I was 31. 5 years earlier, I was living with my mother. I retired when I was 37. Every month I earn thousands of dollars in interest and appreciation on investments working around the globe. No matter what I do on any day, one thing is sure. I get paid. I do not have to work. I have financial freedom because I cracked the wealth code and escaped financial mediocrity. I am a normal guy living an abnormal life. It's a fantasy land, but my reality, my normal, my deviation from ordinary where I can pursue my most implausible dream in a life free of financial encumbrances. Had I chosen the preordained road, get rich slow, my dreams would be on life support, likely replaced with an alarm clock and a heavy morning commute. How about your dreams? Do they need resuscitation? Is your life on a road that converges with a dream, or is one? If your dream have lost probability, it's possible. Get Rich Slow has killed them. Get Rich Slow criminally asks you to trade your freedom for freedom. It is insanely outrageous butter and a dreams destroyer. Alternatively, if you travel the right roads and leverage the right roadmap, you can resurrect your dreams to possibility. Yes, a fast lane traveler, you can create wealth fast. Screw get rich slow and win a lifetime of prosperity, freedom, and dream fulfillment, just as I did. If this book hasn't found you early in life, don't worry. The fast lane doesn't care about your age, your job experience, your race, your gender. It doesn't care about your F in the 8th grade gym or class or beer drinking reputation in college. The first trend doesn't care about your Ivy League college degree or your Harvard MBA. It doesn't ask you to be a famous athlete, actor, or a finalist in an American Idol. The first lane is merciful on your past if you just unlock the gateway into its universe. Finally, at the risk of sounding like a late night infomercial, let me clarify. I am not a self-proclaimed guru, nor do I want to be. I dislike gurus because guruness implies know-it-all status. Call me the anti-guru of Get Rich Slow. The first lane is a lifetime school with no graduates. 20 plus years into this, and I humbly admit I have more to learn. Sorry, no 4-hour work week here. First, let me get something clear. This isn't a how-to book. I am not going to tell you every nuance about how I did it, because how I did it isn't relevant. This book doesn't contain a list of websites that online ways outsource. This book doesn't contain a list of websites that outline ways to outsource your life. Success is a journey, and it can be outsourced to India or in a 4-hour work week. The Millionaire Fastlane is like a yellow brick road paved in psychology and mathematics that put the odds of massive wealth in your favor. During my Fastlane journey of discovery, I always sought the absolute infallible formula that would lead to wealth. What I found was ambiguity and subjective imperative like be determined or persistence pays or it is not what you know but who. While these tidbits complied part of the formula, they didn't guarantee wealth. A workable formula uses mathematical constructs and not ambiguous statements. Does wealth have a mathematical formula, a code that you can exploit to tilt the odds in your favor? Yes, the Fastlane quantifies it. Many wealth seekers have false expectations about money books and think that some fairy guru will do the work. The road to wealth has no escort and is always under construction. No one drops millions on your lap. The road is yours to travel and yours alone. I can open the door, but I can't make you walk through it. I don't claim the first lane is easy. It's hard work. If you expect a 4-hour work week here, you will be disappointed. All I can be is that creepy munchkin pointing off the distance with a stamped directive. Follow the yellow brick road. That is the first lane is that road. Coffee with a multi-millionaire. I have approached this book conversationally, as if you are my friend, my new friend, and we are having coffee in a quaint neighborhood cafe. That means my intent is to educate you, not to unspell you into some expensive seminar, membership website, or back-end marketing funnel. While I will interact with you as if you're my friend, let's face it, I don't have a clue who you are. I don't have intimate details about your past, your age, your biases, your spouse, or your education. Therefore, I need to make some general assumptions to ensure that our conversation seems personal to you. My assumptions. You look around your life and think, there's got to be more. You have big dreams. Yet you are concerned that the road you are traveling in will never converge with those dreams. You are a college-bound, courage-enrolled, or courage-educated. You have a job you don't enjoy or isn't going to make you rich. You have little savings and carry a load of debt. You contribute regularly to a 401k. You see rich people and wonder, how did they do it? You have bought a few get-rich-quick books and/or programs. You live in a free, democratic society where education and free choice are standards. Your parents subscribed to the old school, go to college, and get a job. You do not have any physical talent. Your chances of becoming a professional athlete, singer, entertainer, or actor are zero. You are young and full of enthusiasm about the future, but unsure where to direct it. You are older and you have been in the workforce for some time. After all these years, you do not have a lot to show for it, and you're tired of starting over. You've put your heart and soul into a job only to be laid off due to a bad economy or cutbacks. You've lost the money in the stock market or traditional investment championed by mainstream financial gurus. If some of these assumptions reflect your situation, this book will have an impact. How this book is organized. At the conclusion of each chapter, there is a subsection titled Chapter Summary, Fastlane Distinctions, which chronicles the critical distinctions to Fastlane strategy. Don't ignore this. They are the building blocks to engineering your Fastlane. Additionally, the stories and examples in this book come from the Fastlane forum and other personal finance forums. While the stories are real and come from real people with real problems, I've changed the names and edited the dialogue for clarity. And finally, feel free to discuss Fastlane strategy with thousands of others at the Fastlane forum, thefastlaneforum.com. When the fastlane changes your life, stop by and tell us how and tell us how by or email me at mjdemarco@yahoo.com. It took me years to uncover and assemble these fastlane strategies, learn them, use them, and ultimately make millions. Bored, retired, and yes, still young with hair. I give you the millionaire fastlane. Crack the code to wealth and live rich for a lifetime. Fasten your seatbelts, grab a 10-buck late, and let's go on the road trip. Part 1. Wealth in a wheelchair. Get rich slow. Is get rich old? Chapter 1. The Great Deception. Normal is not something to aspire to. It's something to get away from. Quote by Jodie Foster. The MTV Cribs, episodes that never happened. Host. Today we visit 22-year-old Daddy Who in his 8,000 square foot crib here on the beautiful Atlantic coastline, live from sunny Palm Beach, Florida. So, Big Daddy Who, tell us about your rides. Big Daddy Who. Yeah, dong. We got a Ferrari F430 over there and the 22-inch rims. The C-Club Lamborghini Gallardo over there and the custom 10-speaker stereo. For those nights where I just wanna chillax with the ladies, the Rolls Royce Mj does my do. Host. So, Big Daddy Who, how can you afford all these gorgeous rides and this mansion on the beach? It must have cost more than $20 million. Big Daddy Who. Yo, you tell me. You let me tell you, dog. Big Daddy Who got rich chilling in mutual funds and popping fat money in my 401k down at my Wingo wireless job. Suddenly, you hear a record screech of the timetable. Silence. As you can imagine, this scenario would never happen. Big Daddy Who answer is prosperous and laughable. We're smart enough to know that wealthy 22-year-old kids don't get rich investing in mutual funds and sashing money in the 401ks from their job at the cell phone store. We know that people who get rich young fall into a unique subset of society. Pro athletes, rappers, actors, entertainers, and famous people. Those of us outside this demography are left with the traditional advice showed upon us by financial experts. It's called get rich slow and sounds something like this. Go to school, get good grades, graduate, get a good job, invest in the stock market your 401k, cut up your credit cards and clip coupons. Then someday, when you are 65 years old, you will be rich. Get rich slow is a losing game. If you want to get rich and get rich slow is your strategy, I have bad news. It's a losing game. When your time guard the gamble, do you seriously think that the guy who lives in that palatial beach estate with the $500 supercar in the driveway got rich because he invested in a mutual fund or clipped coupons of the local super saver? Of course we don't. So why do we give credence to this advice as legitimate road that leads to the wealth and financial freedom? Show me a 22-year-old who got rich investing in mutual funds. Show me the man who earned millions in 3 years by maximizing his 401k. Show me the young 20-something who got rich clipping coupons. Where are these people? They don't exist. They are fairy tales of impossibility. Yet, we continue to trust the same old tired gang of financial media darlings who espouse these doctrines of wealth. Yes, sir, get a job, work 50 years, save, live mindlessly frugal, invest in the stock market, and soon your day of freedom will arrive at age 70. And if the stock market is the kind and you are lucky 60, gee, doesn't this wealth in a wheelchair financial plan sound exciting? In today's tumultuous financial climate, I am shocked people still believe these strategies even work. Wasn't it the recession that exposed get rich slow or the fraud it is? Oh, I get it. If you are employed for 40 years and avoid 40% market downturns, get rich slow works. Just sit back, work, and hope death don't meet you at first because golly gee, you're going to be the richest guy in the retirement home. The message of Get Rich Slow is clear. Sacrifice your today, your dreams, and your life for a plan that pays dividends after most of your life have evaporated. Let me be blunt. If your road to wealth devours your active adult life and isn't guaranteed, that road sucks. A road to wealth, codependent on the Wall Street and anchored by the time is your life vanguard as the gamble is dirty, rotten ally. Nonetheless, the preordained plan continues to wield power, recommended and enforced by the legion of hypocritical financial experts who aren't rich but their own advice, who aren't rich by their own advice, but their own millionaire fastlane. The slow lane prognosticators know something that they aren't telling you. What they don't teach you doesn't work, but selling it does. What they teach you doesn't work, but selling it does. Okay. Wealth young. Is it bullshit? The millionaire fastlane isn't about being retired old with millions, but about redefining wealth to include youth, fun, freedom, and prosperity. Take this comment posted on the fastlane forum. Is it bullshit? You know, the dream to be young and live the life to own the exotic cars, to own the dream house, to have free time to travel and pursue your dreams. Can you really get free of the rat race young? I am 23-year-old investment banker in Chicago. I am a 23-year-old investment banker in Chicago, Illinois. I make a modest salary and modest commissions. By most people's standards, I have a good job. I hate it. I cruise Chicago's downtown and I see some guys giving the life. Guys driving expensive exotic cars. And I think to myself, they are all 50 or older. The silver hair. One of them once told me, you know, kid, when you finally can afford a toy like this, you are almost too old to enjoy it. The guy was a 52-year-old real estate investor. I remember looking at him and thinking, God, that can't be true. It's gotta be bullshit. It's gotta be. I can verify it isn't bullshit. You can live the life and still be young. Old age is not a prerequisite to wealth or retirement. However, the real bullshit is thinking you can do it by default. Get rich, slow, construct. At least by the time you hit your 30th birthday, believing that old age is a precursor to retirement is the real bullshit. The real bullshit is allowing the get rich slow to steal your dreams. Reinvent retirement to include youth. Say retirement. And what did you see? I see a crotchety old man on a porch in a creaky rocking chair. I see pharmacies, doctors' offices, workers, and unsightly urinary undergarments. I see nursing homes and overburdened loved ones. I see old and immobile. Heck, I even smell something musty karka 1971. People retire in their 60s or 70s. Even at that age, they struggle to make ends meet and have to rely on bankrupted government programs just to survive. Others work well in their golden years just to maintain their lifestyle. Some will never make it and work until death. How does this happen? Simple. Get rich slow. Takes a lifetime to travel, and its success is nefariously dependent on too many factors you cannot control. Invest 50 years into a job and living misery living, then one day you can retire rich alongside your wheelchair and prescription pill box. How uninspiring. Yet millions undertake the 50-year gamble. Those who succeed receive their reward of financial freedom with a stinking lump of tad. Old age. Gee, thanks. But don't worry, patronizing rains from the heavens. These are the golden years. Who are they kidding? Golden to whom? If the journey devours 50 years of your life, is it worth it? A 50-year road to wealth isn't compelling, and because of it, few succeed and those who do settle for financial freedom in life's twilight. The problem with accepted norms of retirement is what you do not see. You don't see youth. You don't see fun. You don't see the realization of your dreams. The golden years aren't golden at all, but a waiting time for death, room for death. If you want to financial freedom before the grim reaper hits on the deck, circle, get rich slow isn't the answer. If you want to retire young with health, vibrancy, and hair, you're going to need to ignore society's default get rich slow roadmap and the gurus spawn feeding you with the soup in the trough. There is another way. Chapter summary. Fastlane distinctions. Get rich slow demands a long life of gainful employment. Get rich slow is losing game because it is codependent on Wall Street and anchored by your time. The real golden years of your life are when you are young, sentient, and vibrant. Chapter 2. How I screwed Get Rich Slow. The object of life is not to be on the side of the masses, but to escape finding oneself in the ranks of the insane. Marcus Aurelius. Exposing the Get Rich Slow dream killer. As a teenager, I never gave myself a chance to becoming wealthy young. Wealth plus youth was an equation that didn't compute simply because I didn't have the physical capabilities. Common roads to wealth for the young are competitive and require talent. Become an actor, a musician, an entertainer, or a pro athlete, all roads that had a big road closed sign that laughed. Not a chance, MJ. So early in life, I considered. I gave up on my dreams, get rich slow, made it abundantly clear. Go to school, get a job, settle for less, sacrifice, be misery, and quit dreaming about financial freedom, mountainside homes, and exotic cars. But I still dreamt. It's what teenage boys do. For me, it was all about cars, specifically Lamborghini Countach. The 90-second that changed my life. I grew up in Chicago and I was a pokey kid with few friends. I wasn't interested in teenage girls or sports, but lying around in a beanbag, stuffing my face with donuts while watching Tom and Jerry reruns. Parental supervision was absent. Mom divorced dad years earlier, which left my older siblings and me to be raised by a single mother. Mom didn't have a college education or a career, unless a deep frying job at Kentucky Fried Chicken qualified. That left me to my own indulgences, usually consumption of sweets and the latest episode of A-Team. My exertion were epitomized by a long broken broomstick. I used it as the TV's remote control since the real one was broken and I was too lazy to move. When I did move, the local ice cream shop was often my target, a sugary delight, and was a motive I could count on. That day was like any other day. I sought ice cream. I potted the flavor of my next indulgence and headed towards the ice cream clean parlor. When I arrived, there it was. I was face to face with my dream car, a Lamborghini Countach, famous from the 80s hit movie Cornball Run, parked stoically like an omnipotent king. I gazed upon it like a worshipper beholden to its god. Awestruck, any thoughts of ice cream were banished from my brain. Posterized on my bedroom walls and drooled upon in my favorite car magazines, I was accurately familiar with the Lamborghini Countach, cunning, evil, obscenely fast, spaceship doors, and ungodly expensive. Yet, here it was, just a few feet away, like Elvis resurrected. Its raw tangible grandeur was like an artisan coming face to face with an authentic moment. The lines, the curves, the smell. I I go I good I gawked for a few minutes until a young man left the ice cream parlor and headed toward the car. Could this be the owner? No way. He couldn't have been more than 25 years old, dressed in blue jeans and an oversized flannel shirt and what I spied to be an Iron Maiden concert shirt underneath. I reasoned this couldn't be the owner. I expected an older guy, wrinkled, receding gray hairline, and dressed 2 seasons late. Not so. What the heck? I thought. How could a young guy afford such a kick-ass automobile? For God's sake, that car costs more than the house I live in. It's got to be a lottery winner, I speculated. Or maybe some rich kid who inherited the family fortune. No, it's a pro athlete. Yes, this is it, I concluded. Suddenly, a darling thought invaded my head. Hey, MJ, why don't you ask the guy what he does for a living? Could I? I stood on the sidewalk. Oh no. Cancel. I stood on the sidewalk, dumbfolded while I negotiated with myself, emboldened and overcome with adrenaline. I found my legs moving towards the car as if my brain weren't agreeable. In the back of my mind, my brother taunted, danger! Will Robinson, danger! Feeling my approach, the owner hid his trepidation with a forced smile and opened his door. Whoa! The car's door flung into the sky, vertically as opposed to swinging out sideways like a normal car. It threw me off what little game I had and tried to maintain the composure, as if cars with futuristic doors were standard fare. What could have been more than 20 words seemed like a novel. My opportunity was here and I snatched it. Excuse me, sir? I nervously muttered, hoping he wouldn't ignore me. May I ask you what you do for a living? Released that I wasn't a teenager derelict, the owner kindly responded, I'm an inventor. Perplexed that his answer didn't match my preconception, my prepared follow-up question were nullified, paralyzing my next move. I stood there frozen like the ice cream I had sought minutes earlier. Sensing the opportunity for escape, the young Lamborghini owner took the driver's seat, closed the door, and started the engine. The loud roar of exhaust swept out the parking lot, alerting all life forms of the Lamborghini for me double presence. Whether I liked it or not, the conversation was over. Knowing that it might be years before a sight would happen again, I took mental inventory of the automotive unicorn before me. I left opened as the neural path suddenly smacked up open in my brain. The liberation from fame and talent. What changed that day? I was exposed to a fastlane and a new truth. As for the sweets I pursued that day, I never made it into the store. I turned around and went home with a new reality. I wasn't athletic, I couldn't sing, and I couldn't act, but I could get rich without fame or without physical talent. From that point forward, things changed. The Lamborghini encounter lasted 90 seconds but transcended a lifetime of new beliefs, directions, and choices. I decided that I could someday own a Lamborghini and I would do it while I was young. I was unwilling to wait until my next encounter. my next chance experience, and my next poster. I wanted it for myself. Yes, I retired the broomstick and got off my fat ass. The search for the millionaire fastlane. After the Lamborghini encounter, I made a conscious effort to study young millionaires who weren't famous or physically talented. But I wasn't interested in all millionaires, just those who lived a rich, extravagant lifestyle. This exclamation led me to study a limited, obscure group of people, a small subset of fameless millionaires who met these criteria. They were living a rich lifestyle or were capable of such. I wasn't interested in hearing from frugal millionaires who lived next door in the middle class. They had to be relatively young, under 35, or they had to have acquired wealth fast. I wasn't interested in people who spent 40 years in their life jobbing a penny pinching their way to millions. I wanted to be rich young, not old. They had to be self-made. I was broke. Silver spoon winners of the Lucky Sperm lottery weren't invited to my lab. Their riches couldn't be for fame, physical talent. Their riches couldn't be from fame, physical talent, playing Pro Bowl, acting, singing, or entertaining. I sought millionaires who would have stared like me, who would have started like me, an average guy without any special skill or talent, who somehow made it big through high school and college. I religiously studied this millionaire divergence. I read magazines, books, and newspapers and watched documentaries of successful businessmen. Anything that provided insight into this small subset of millionaires, I absorbed it. Unfortunately, this search to uncover this secret to fast wealth led me to disappointment. I was a late-night infomercial marketer's dream come true, gullible, willing, and unarmed with a credit card. I bought into countless opportunities, from one tiny classified ad to the Asian real estate mogul and his sexy bikini-clad yacht vixens. None of them delivered wealth, and despite the sleek commercials and their click claims, their large-breasted models never materialized. As I fed my appetite for knowledge and endured one odd job after another, my research uncovered some remarkable common denominators. I was confident I had uncovered all the components of the millionaire fastlane and fameless wealth. I was determined to become rich young, and the journey would begin after college graduation. Little did I know what lay ahead, roadblocks, the detours, and the mistakes. Little did I know what lay ahead, the roadblocks, the detours, the mistakes, resistance to mediocrity. I graduated from North Illinois University with 2 business degrees. College was a 5-year prenatal employee brainwashing, with graduation as the overrated climax. I viewed college as an indoctrination into corporate drownship, an unfulfilled marriage between me and a life of jobs, bosses, and being overworked and underpaid. My friends were hired for great jobs and bragged about it. I work for Motorola. I got a job at Northwestern Insurance. Hertz Rental Cars hired me as a training manager. While I was happy for them, my friends bought that lie that I later defined as the slow lane. Me? Thanks, but no thanks. I sought to avoid the slow lane like medieval plague. My idea to find the fast lane, retire rich and retire young. My idea was to find the fast lane, retire rich and retire young. Roadblocks, detours, and depression. Despite the confidence, the next few years fell horribly short of my expectations. I lived with my mother, and as I bounced from one business venture to another, success was absent. Every month was a different business. Vitamins, jewelry, some hot, turnkey, marketing program purchased from the back of my business magazine, or some goofy long-distance network marketing gig. Despite the hard work, my record of failures grew, as did my mounting debts. Years passed and folly fermented as I forced a series of non-jobs that crept my ego. The busboy at Chinese restaurant. Yes, there are cockroaches in the back. A day laborer in the slums of Chicago. Pizza delivery boy. Flower delivery boy. Dispatcher. Limo driver. Early morning newspaper delivery for the Chicago Tribune. Subway sandwich restaurant salesman. What the fuck? Sears stock clerk in the freaking Drapery department. Charity can corrector and house painter. The only thing worse than these shitty jobs and their pay, the hours. Most requires a pre-dawn start, 3 a.m., 4 a.m. If any ungodly hours was involved, you could bet my job required it. 5 years of college, and I graduated to live like a dairy farmer. Hell, money was so tight that I prostituted myself to an older woman to pay for my best friend's wedding gift. Yes, Kogwas prayed in the 1990s. Meanwhile, my friends progressed in their careers. They got their 4% yearly pay increases, they bought their Mustangs and Acuras, and their 1,200 square foot townhouses. They appeared to be content and lived the expectant life preordained by society. They were found normal and I wasn't. At 26 years old, I fell into depression. My business were not self-sufficient and neither was I. Seasonal depression gnawed at my fractured psyche. Chicago rainy, dark, dreary weather made me crave for the comfort of warm bed and tasty pastries. Accomplishments were preceded by sunshine, so yes, I wasn't accomplishing much. Tired of the high school dropout jobs, I struggled to get out of bed, and doubt became the daily affirmation. Physically, emotionally, and financially exhausted from failure, I knew my results weren't indicative of my true self. I knew the fastlane way to wealth but just couldn't get it executed. What was I doing wrong? What was holding me back? After all these years of research and education, complete with a closet full of books, magazines, and quick start videos, I was still no closer to wealth. I sat stalled on the sidewalk with the fast lane nowhere in sight. My deep depression sank into escapes, but instead of drugs, sex, or alcohol, I lost myself in books and kept studying fameless millionaires. If I couldn't be successful, I'd escape into the lives of those who were by absorbing books of the rich, autobiographies of the successful, and other rags to riches tales. But it got worse. The people in my life gave up on me. My longtime girlfriend proclaimed, "You have no resolve." She had a safe and secure job with a rental car agency, but you'd argue because she worked long hours for chump change. A whopping $28,000 a year. Of course, she rightly retorted with the facts. You don't have a job, you make $27,000 less than me, and none of your businesses work. She was a smart cat. Our relationship ended as she found courtship with a corporate radio ad executive. And then there was my mother. For the first years after college, she cut me slack. But then came the failures of the goofy jobs. I begged patience and pleaded that wealth creation for a first-line entrepreneur operates under an exponential scale. Those who do hold jobs operate under a linear scale. Unfortunately, it didn't matter how great my charts and diagrams were. Mom lost faith and I didn't blame her. Landing a man on a Mars showed more promise. Her directives dulled my drive. She'd shout, "Get a job, baby," at least 20 times a week. Ah! Even today I shudder. That phrase, shouted in that voice, could exterminate cockroaches in a post-apocalyptic world. There were days I would want to pound my head into a vice and crush my ears into deafness. Get a job, baby, boy into my soul. It was motherly decree that put the trial on an end in the jury's unanimous verdict. Failure, with a vote of no confidence. Mom suggested, the grocery store is hiring a daily manager. Why don't you go down there and check it out? As if my college education and struggles for the first 5 years were to eclipse at the daily counter, cutting blocks of bologna and adding potato salad on the neighborhood soccer moms. Thanks for the job, team, but I'll pass. My blizzard of awakening. It took me the pain of a cold Chicago blizzard to throw me into the crossroads of life. It was a dark, frigid night. I was tired, working as a limo driver. My shoes were drenched from wet snow while I fought a migraine headache. The 4 aspirins I chased 2 hours earlier had no effect. I wanted to get home but couldn't. I was stuck in a blizzard and my usual routes were snowed in. I pulled to the shoulder of a faintly lit road and felt the cold chill of melted snow crawl up my legs from my toes. I put the limo in a park and faced myself in dead silence with nothing but the fall of snowflakes to remind me how much I hated winter. I gazed at the cigarette-burnt ceiling of the limousine in thought, what the hell am I doing? Is this what my life has become? Sitting on an empty load in a blizzard in the dark of the night out in the middle of nowhere, I had it. Sometimes clarity washes over you like a peaceful breeze, and other times hits you over the head like a falling Steinway piano. For me, it was the latter. A sharp declaration overpowered my brain. You cannot bring another day like this. If I was going to survive, I needed to change. The decision to change. The harsh winter shot me into swift action. I decided to change. I decided to take control over something I thought I was uncontrollable. My environment. I decided to relocate to where I didn't know, and at that moment I didn't care. In an instant, I felt powerful. The velocity of the choice infused my miserable existence with hope and small drip of happiness. My failures evaporated and I felt reborn. Suddenly, a dead-end road converged with a dream. It wasn't just about the decision to move. It was about taking control and knowing that I had a choice.